Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and turn everything over to our presenter here. And thank you for joining us.
Hi, my name is Helaine Marshall, and I'm here to talk to you about SOFLA. Does anyone know what it stands for? If anyone can guess, put it in the chat. SOFLA. Has anyone ever heard of it? You have any idea what it is? But you looked at the program and you're here, so maybe you do. Okay, so I'm going to be trying to monitor the chat. There'll be a lot of things I'm going to post in the chat. And my wonderful moderator is going to be helping me to remember to keep you up to date, because you will be needing a lot of these links as we go. You're going to travel on some field trips, okay? And I'm just going to start you right away here with my first slide, which is to welcome you to Fostering Teacher Presence with Synchronous Online Flipped Learning Approach, or SOFLA. I'm at Long Island University. I teach multicultural perspectives in education, and I've been teaching online since 2008 and flipping my classes since 2011. I was for 5 years on the board of the Flipped Learning Network. So I have two hats: my culturally responsive and sustaining education hat, which is my research and my degree, which is in TESOL. And my other hat is I've sort of turned into this techie person, but I'm a faculty member. And I want to share with you the way I teach online and have for many years, and is now called SOFLA. All right. So what we're going to do, this is SOFLA, and you can disregard the Google folder right away. I'm telling you that I decided to streamline things because we only have 50 minutes. And so instead of a folder with a lot of links, we're going to have the links in the chat. And that right there, that cycle, is actually a picture of the SOFLA model, which you'll have plenty of chance to see. So I'm starting here with step 1, which is the pre-work. What I'm going to do is take you through SOFLA and introduce you to it through taking you into the steps of SOFLA. There are 8 steps. This is called the loop input approach, if you've heard of that, in which you will experience what it is I'm teaching you about. So it's a double level. So you're immediately now going to step 1, and step 1 is a video. So what you're going to do is, normally with my students, they do this outside of class at their own pace. They do it at their own pace. They can stop, they can rewind, they can watch it more than once. And I embed questions, which you will see when you watch the video. It's going to talk about what I do. Because of the situation today, there'll be no questions, but the question will be afterwards, not embedded. So listen up, because when you're done, I'm going to ask you a question that everyone will respond to on our Jamboard, which we'll get to in a minute. You will watch for 6 minutes. Watch it and come back. Go ahead. Goodbye. Watch a 6-minute video of SOFLA. See you in 6. Bye. Okay, I noticed that some people are back, and we're going to give it a little bit more time. Literally, it was 6 minutes. So Crystal and Dr. Washington, you are on target. 6 minutes. And Peter, all right. Please put a green check. As you come back in the room, put a green check, please. You're moving my sticky around. Somebody's in Jamboard already. All right. Okay. All right. As you come back, please put a green check so I know we can move on. You have the link to this video. You can watch it again later. You can review it later. But we're going to move on because we have limited time. And so some people came in before they would have had a chance to watch the whole video. They can feel free to continue to watch, but I'm going to move you on and move you along. Let me give 1 more minute. Oh, your version, it's in the reactions menu and not in the participants menu. Interesting. Different versions of Zoom. Thank you for that. That's great, Peter. Okay. All right. So you have just done step 1, and now we are moving, hello, maybe some people came late, they didn't see me, here I am. Okay, we're now going to step 2. Step 2 in SOFLA is the sign-in, right? You know that because you just watched the video. Ready for our sign-in? Okay, here's your sign-in. You're going to go to our Jamboard. You're going to go to our Jamboard, and the link is in the chat. I can put it there again. We're going to be doing lots of links. We're moving quickly through 8 steps in a short time frame. Please go to the Jamboard. On the Jamboard, I'd like you to take a sticky, grab a sticky. The steps are in the corner. You can see them. I'd like you to tell me which step you think would be the hardest for you, not in general for everybody, but for you. What do you think you might need to struggle a little bit with before you feel comfortable? Which one? So someone's already put breakouts. And remember, put why, not just the step, but why. All right, I'll be quiet, give you a chance to think and populate that Jamboard. Thank you. There is an overflow Jamboard because I didn't know how many folks we would have. So once you fill board 1, you can feel free to go to board 2. We have 2 boards. Somebody just circled, but remember, you need a reason. Grab a sticky. Okay. What I also would like you to do, and I always ask my students to do in the sign-in, is look at everyone else's. The minute you've posted yours, you're not done. The rest of your job is to look, see patterns. What do you notice? Do you see most people putting the same step? Do you see people who put the same step but for a different reason? Look at patterns. That's what I ask my students to do with the sign-in, okay? So I've asked you a question that could have any one of 8 answers, right? 8 and a reason. So this is obviously you don't teach your students SOFLA. I'm doing that with you, but I want you to get the flavor of the sign-in activity. Do you feel that you get it now? This is what you do for a sign-in, okay? It doesn't have to be obviously Jamboard. Tools are not important to me. I'm considering pedagogy only, and I've used many different tools for the sign-in. Okay, so feel free to go to the overflow board. I'm going to go take a peek myself at the overflow board, see what's going on over there. Oh, nothing. Don't forget, there's an overflow board, and there are 28 of you in here. So go ahead to the other board if you want. All right, put it in the chat. We don't have time to like do real fully implemented all 8 steps. So I'm going to abbreviate every step so that we get to all 8. But I would like you, just for brevity here, write in the chat anything you notice as you read all the sign-ins. What do you notice about the sign-in participation? What do you notice? Anything jump out at you? I know a lot of things are jumping out at me as I look. Please share in the chat your insights. What do you notice? Do you see patterns? Did you get a new idea from reading someone else's? Okay, now we'll go on to step 3. Like I said, this is very abbreviated. So keep populating the chat with your insights from the sign-in, but we're going on to step 3. Step 3 is the whole group application. Step 3 is our chance to go deeper into the content that you watched outside of class or read. We'll talk about that later. And now we're going to collaboratively create an organizer. And so in order to do that, we're going to go to Miro and do a quadrants activity. So this is the quadrants activity, and we're going to Miro for it. Now, Miro may be new for you. I have not used it with students because it seems a bit overwhelming at the beginning for them because Jamboard is more confined, but I like Miro because it's infinite. So we're going to go to Miro. So please go to Miro. And I'm going to share my screen since Jamboard, I figured you all knew what that was, but if you're not that familiar with, this is what we've got on Miro. So what we're talking about for the whole group application this time is managing major change. So when you manage major change, some things, and we're doing that now, right? SOFLA is a big change and online learning is a big change. So some things will be equivalent. You can do them just like you did them in your class, okay? Others will be limitations, things that you really can't do that you would have wanted to do. Others will be advantages, things you might be able to do even better. And finally, maybe there's some innovations, things you've never done before, okay? So I'd like you to grab a sticky. Sticky is the one with the little corner turned up under the T. And if you click it, it should give you a whole bunch of possible stickies. You can see it on mine, all right? And you can grab a sticky and write in there what would be an equivalency for you. All right, so let's see how this goes. Now, you can do equivalency or advantage or limitation or innovation, whatever makes sense to you. Okay, and this is at 24%, so we can expand it and zoom in to any part we want. We can see what people are doing, okay? Whoop, sorry, I thought that was locked. Let me see why that isn't locked. And I thought, I'm gonna lock it, okay. Okay, all right, okay. All right, so time to create these can be challenging. Okay, now that's not exactly what we're working on here. So what we're working on here is something that you can do just the same as in person, just the same. If you're doing SOFLA, you watched a 6-minute video. The idea here is what can you do the same as you would have done in your class? You don't have to change it except that it's online. And you don't have to start with equivalencies. You can go over to advantages or go over to limitations. I see 20 people are here. So the rest of you, if you can hop on over. And if you've never used Miro, I'm just showing you another alternative tool. Innovations, limitations. I see somebody's working on a limitation. Okay. So you just want to put your ideas here. And again, I'm demonstrating what a whole group application is like. This is analytical. So what you do in the whole group application is you take the concepts, unless you actually share your screen via the Zoom share screen tool, your screen is very low resolution. Well, I'm doing this through Prezi, so that's why. That's interesting to know. But people are in there, so it's okay. I got it, thank you. Okay, so So what I'm trying to get across to you is not just the answer to this question, which we're doing today, but to understand for your students, you want everyone participating, but I don't ask for their names like I do for the sign-in. So everyone in the class together is collaboratively analyzing something. In this case, we're analyzing SOFLA, but in your class, you would be analyzing more deeply and clarifying misconceptions for whatever it was that you taught them in the pre-work outside of class. Everybody got that? So you're not reteaching. I'm not teaching you SOFLA right now. I'm asking you, what about SOFLA can you just carry over from face to face? Somebody put sign in, you could do face to face. Yes, that's true. Small group activity would be like a breakout. Yes, that's true. I'm just looking at what people are doing now, and it looks like people are getting the idea now. Advantages, 24/7. I don't know what that means. I can see how students would love this, but anyway, advantages. What are some advantages? Okay, there's a lot of advantages. I did something on cultural artifacts the other day, and everyone had to get an artifact. And if they forgot their artifact, they didn't have to drive home and get it. They just left their computer and went and grabbed one. So there are all kinds of limitations, office hours. Okay, actually, I do hold virtual hours. All right, I don't want to spend more time. I just want to show you this is step 3. Everybody got it? And remember, all of this is available to you, so you can go back in later and you can fill out these 4 boxes. And again, it's not about Miro. It's not about these specific boxes. It's about that the whole class, the whole group means the whole class. The whole class is applying their learning and deepening their knowledge. And you're the guide on the side. You're watching what's happening. You do not create this. They create it. It's student created. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that anyway. Okay, so I call that the quadrants activity. So now back into our Zoom room, back into our Zoom room, but feel free, you know, we were going to be going all over the place here. All right, so now I'm going to put you in breakout rooms, and they're going to be 8 rooms if my moderator could help me. So I'd like to divide you into 8 rooms, and here's what you're going to do. Anybody have any idea? Get the number. The number's 8. So think for a minute. If I'm going to put you in 8 rooms, it's going to have something to do with what? Come on, be active in the chat. Come on, talk to me. Talk to me. What do you think it's going to have to do with? Oh, people, you're cooking. Okay, so every room's going to have a step. If you're room 1, what step do you have? If you're room 6, what step do you have? Okay, so everybody got it? Okay, so here's what you're going to do. When you get in your room, and you're only going to have like 5 minutes, but it's very easy to do this. Not easy, I don't mean easy. Cognitively difficult, but time-wise, it should be quick. So what you're going to do is this. I'm going to show you the directions. I'm going to blow up my slide so you can see it. Each room will take 1 step of SOFLA. Room 1 will take step 1, pre-work, and so on. For your step, decide 1 tip and 1 caveat. 1 tip and 1 caveat, okay? And then you're going to post your advice on the share out Jamboard. It's the same Jamboard. You just go after the sign in, you keep going, and you'll see the share out. And you'll see the steps right there. So you can refer back. I know you don't have them memorized yet. You're looking at the steps, pick your step, go back in your head to the video, or even go back to the video and find the spot on your step. 1 tip, 1 caveat. Bye. Go to your 8 rooms. Can my moderator make it?
Yeah, was going to double check. You want 8 rooms for 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to hit
1 tip,
and
one
we're just
tip,
going to
1 caveat. That's it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just automatically assign everybody. Here we go.
Six, 5:24.
I'm not finding the timing mechanism. I know there's a thing where you can set for how long they're open, but I'm just going to have to use a timer on my phone.
Is someone talking to me?
Yeah, well, I'm talking to myself. I was just the tool that where I'm supposed to be able to set the timing on the breakout rooms is not showing up, so I'm just using a timer on my phone.
Well, they should be done by 5:30. And then they're going to the Jamboard. So I'm going to do, if you could do a broadcast message, not yet, but you know, when they're close to ending, remind them they have to post to the Jamboard.
Sure. Just for your information, you've got 2 to 3 people per room. Actually, room 7's all by himself.
Well, that's because I was sent to there and I said no.
Right. So just with the number of attendees, just
Yes.
for your information.
Well, it is what it is, right? He can talk to himself. There are more people to be admitted. Did you notice that?
I just saw that. Yeah. They're going to probably be kind of surprised because they're, hey folks, our other participants are in a breakout room right now. If you're invited to go to one, you're welcome to do so, and your fellow participants can probably catch you up. Otherwise,
go to 7. Can you put him in? You put him in 7?
Yeah. There are still just a couple of folks who opted to not join the breakout room, and that is their that's their choice.
That's their prerogative.
Yep.
Sure.
Actually, room 8's only got 1 person also.
Well, I had to do 8. Okay.
About 1.5 minutes before I'll give them a 1-minute warning.
Okay. I gave them a sample. Maybe you could say see sample. See sample on Jamboard, because one of them didn't do it the way they're supposed to. There's a sample on Bland. I tell them there's a sample on the Jamboard. I put a sample share up.
Is it GAN or GAM? JAM. Jam board or jam?
JAM, like
like bot jelly.
Jam. Okay. Yeah. Why are so many people taking step 1? Step 1. Thought my directions were clear. You never know, though. Okay, can you tell them 1 more minute? Tell them please.
I'm doing it right now.
And remind them there's a sample on the Jamboard at the top.
Okay. You ready for me to close the rooms?
Sure.
Okay.
We're done. We're ready. It's perfect. It's 5:30 and we're halfway through. Should be okay. Now I'm going to share my screen again and show them an article, which I hope is not
So
bad resolution.
I was going to say, if you're sharing your screen via Zoom, it's fine. What you're doing with the Prezi share is just taking over your camera spot. And so like I have mine on gallery view, so it's about as big as a postage stamp.
Can't you put me on speaker view? Can't everybody do that?
They could. Yes, they can do
I
that.
think if everyone puts me on speaker view and pins me.
Yeah.
Let's
It
try
may
that.
just be that, yeah, I just am so used to looking at things in gallery view just because
Right.
of
Well,
team
I
meetings.
think speaker view for what I'm doing is really better.
Okay.
Okay.
Just understand it's up to the it's up to the
Of
the
course
viewer.
it is. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, take a look at the Jamboard. Take a look at the Jamboard. And, you know, what I would do with my students, you know, we might arrange the share out. Like here, you could arrange it. You don't have to, but you could arrange it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, move it around. Again, you want the students to take ownership of the lesson, all right? So now we have some interesting tips and caveats. And, you know, I gave a sample for group 1 and then they had to come up with something a little different, which they did. Yay. Okay. And we've got all the tips in, all the ones in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Well done, guys. Now, some of you mentioned, and here's an example of what I would do in a real class. I noticed in the sign-in that someone put, see, this is what you can always go back to the sign-in. I noticed in the sign-in that someone put the most difficult step might be share out because students kind of lose interest after the breakout. They come out of the breakout and they're like, we're done. And they don't listen to each other and they don't want to present and they shut down. So I have a remedy for that. Thank you, whoever put them in order. There's always someone, right? But let me tell you what I use. I use, and I'm going to, I think it's on my slide. So let me use them. They're here. Might as well use those darn slides. Here we go. Okay. So view the tips and caveats on the Jamboard. And then for peer feedback, we use Shack. So Shack is from a colleague of mine, Khalid Fethi. And we've written articles on flipped learning together. And he came up with a wonderful technique for peer feedback. So the students who are not sharing, and we're not calling on anybody here now because we don't have time for that, okay? I'm just asking you to look at it. We're not going to talk about it. But in class with my students, they do Shack. So after one group presents, and we, as you saw in the video, you might have one group or many groups. That's your choice as the teacher. But everybody who is watching or listening will provide feedback as a share, a help, an ask, or a comment. So if they just say, great, I really liked your group, boom, gone, erase it, I take it away, okay? They have to be specific in one of these 4 ways. They can either, I'm just gonna make myself here. So they can either share something that they could add something, share something to contribute to what that group presented, or they can help the group. They can say, you know, when you said this, I think maybe you might do that. It's a little bit like critiquing, but we say help. And then they can ask a question. So could you explain that you said, all right? Or they can give a comment, but the comment has to be specific. It can't be general, it can't be general praise, okay? So because the other students know that their job is Shack and they have to do that, they can do it in audio form, in chat form, or right on a board, right here on this Jamboard, we could do it because there's a comment feature. So you could do that, or I can't remember now if the comment was on Miro, I think maybe, but in any case, there's text box. So, but the other students are still participating. They're not just sitting there listening to the groups present. That is boring, right? And of course it's boring if every group did the same thing. You wouldn't have every group present. I always go in, I don't want to spend too much time on this step, but many of you said the breakouts and share out was new for you and harder for you. So I'm doing the same thing with you that I would do with my students, is I'm taking the sign in and reviewing it for you in terms of the share out. So, because that's what you focused on there in the sign in. So with the share out, I use my judgment. I might pick a group that did really, really well and ask them to share and act like, oh, how about group 4 or something like that. And I know that group 4 did a great job and the others may have struggled with certain things. Or I might pick a group that struggled a little because I noticed that the way they struggled was similar to the way other groups struggled. All of this is just being a good teacher. Come on, you can do it, right? It's just your regular thing you do, teach, all right? So anyway, we're up to step 6. And I hope we have time for questions. I really want that to happen. Okay, so step 6 is preview and discovery. So you might say, wait a minute, this is a conference presentation. We're not previewing and discovering anything. She's gonna go home and I am home. She's gonna, like, the conference will be over and that'll be it. No, because I'm demonstrating SOFLA. So I'm actually giving you a preview of something that you can discover after this session. So let's see what we're going to preview. And I'd like you for this, if you don't mind, to go to speaker view, because I'm going to browse an article with you. I'm going to take you to an article on SOFLA. It's a rather scholarly approach to the SOFLA model, unlike what we're doing now. But I'd like you to take a look at it with me. So this is the preview and discovery. We're going to browse an article together. And the article is in the, I'm putting everything in the chat, by the way. Everything I'm giving you, you have, I believe in transparency. There it goes. You can go there on your own if you want. I'm not pushing you to necessarily have to scroll with me, but for those people who want to scroll with me, I am showing it to you, and here it is. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen, and I wonder if I make it bigger, does it make it bigger for you or not? I don't know if that matters in Prezi. Does that make it bigger for you when I expand it or not? Does that change it?
It doesn't seem to.
Okay.
As I say, unfortunately, it's fairly low
All right.
resolution on the screen.
All right. So, but you see me scrolling, right? Okay. So this is an article on SOFLA. I talk here about the community of inquiry framework. You can see that. And we talk about, sorry, I skipped, we talk about flipped learning. So SOFLA comes from the tradition of flipped learning and from the tradition of the community of inquiry framework, because we're talking about teaching presence in this article and in this presentation right now. And then we go through the 8 steps of SOFLA. Here are the 8 steps. I go through them and you can read all about the steps, okay? We do a long thing on pre-work. That's the asynchronous. See, it's called asynchronous. So we do a lot on the asynchronous. I'm not expecting you to read. I'm doing the preview with you. Remember, with the preview, you don't teach it. What you do is it's like the trailer of a movie. You get people excited to do the next assignment. You don't just assign it, you show it to them. All right, now here, this is going through the steps. We go through all the steps, see? And now we come to the cycle. And this is the first article that actually presented the cycle. And you notice that pre-work is yellow. Why do you think it's yellow? So another thing, put in the chat, why do you think it's yellow? Put it in the chat. Now, here's an example. And again, you've got to have a meta level here. With my students, I would do something like this. So I'm asking you a question. Why do you think the pre-work is in yellow? I want you to think about that. It's a preview. I'm not teaching you, I'm piquing your curiosity. So put in the chat why you think pre-work is in yellow and everything else is in green. I don't mean yellow, it could be anything, but it's a different color. Why is pre-work a different color? Someone put it comes first. It's offline, maybe. But there's some other reasons why pre-work is in a different color. Think about it, it's a cycle and they're all connected. Everything's connected, right? So what about pre-work makes you think it's in a different color. They do it alone. These are all good ideas, and they are all part of the answer. But when you read the article, you'll find out more about why the pre-work is a different color. These are the references, by the way. This gives you everything that's been published. Well, actually, I just published another one, but that's not in here, obviously. But anyway, there's all the material. And here are all the links. Some of you are into tools. Those of you into tools, go to town. Here they are. All of these are mentioned in the article. Okay, so what I just did with you, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I'm learning how to do this now. Oh, I see, because I expanded it. It's way over to the side, but it's there. Okay, so now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and come back to our PowerPoint. Death by PowerPoint. I'm trying to learn to switch to Prezi, but right now this is the closest I can come. Okay, and we go now to step 7. All right, so everyone clear, the preview and discovery is designed to make sure that they do their assignment, because, and now I'm going to give you the answer to the pre-work, is that everything falls apart. Let me show myself again. I'm still practicing all of these things. Okay, there I am. Okay, the pre-work is essential. If they don't do the pre-work, the entire cycle falls apart. You're nowhere. So everything depends upon it. And people give up on flipped learning wrongly, I believe, because they say it doesn't work. They don't do the pre-work. I have to reteach. No, that's because no one's doing step 6. I don't mean no one. If you do SOFLA and you do step 6, or even if you don't do SOFLA, do step 6, because step 6 is what gets them into it. I do ESL. I pre-teach vocabulary. I pre-teach a concept, just a little bit. Just say, oh, you're going to find this new term called aspect. There's this thing in grammar called aspect. Anyway, they've never heard of it. So I say, okay, you have to learn. There's perfect aspect, there's progressive aspect, and you're going to read about that for next time. Okay, so let me show you what that is, so that when you see it, you get them wedded to the material, you get them connected to the material. Okay, movie trailer is my best way to explain it. And if you skip that step, they're less likely to do the pre-work. Look, everyone isn't always going to do it, just like everyone doesn't always do their homework. But you'll get a higher percentage. Okay, so now, whoa, I clicked away there. Okay, so now we're going to the assignment. So I don't call this an assignment with you because I'm not your teacher. I call it a follow-up task, but with your students, you call it assignments. So what I want you to do is read the article. Your assignment is to read the article, and you have the link in the chat. You have the link in the chat. So please read the article. But there might be some of you who are excited about SOFLA and would like to continue the conversation. So if you want to continue the conversation is happening in Perusal. And I saw a very good an acknowledgement of Perusal earlier today in a session. I don't know how many of you were at that one where Perusal was mentioned. But it's similar to hypothesis is, it's similar to actively learn an active textbook, but I like Perusal. And I have a course in there, totally free, ongoing, where you can do social annotation and interaction together. And there's the code. And it's not a secret code. You can share it with anyone you want. You just go and create a student account and go right into Perusal. And if you've never done Perusal, I'm just going to share my screen again to show you Perusal, just so you see it. So this is Perusal, and it's another way, by the way, I'm using it as an assignment, as I use it for pre-work for my students. So their textbook is in Perusal, and they read, and I see how much time they're spending with the textbook, and I see what their comments are on the text that they're reading. So it's another type of thing besides a video that you can use if you flip your classes and you don't always want to have a video. I do a combination of readings and video, okay? And I'm just going to show you. Come on, guys, get me in there already, for goodness sake. Let's not go nuts here. Okay, so I have tons of courses, don't worry about that. This is our course. It's the first one listed because it's the most recent one. There's 17 items in the library. It's an ongoing asynchronous SOFLA course. And this is the course. And you can see there's tons of materials in there, and you go in and you share and you talk. Okay. And there's already Mike. Oh, we've got 2 people in there already. I don't know who they are, but hello, Mike, and hello, Arthur. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's the idea. So now what you do with your students is the same thing. You make sure they understand the assignment. Now, I'm not going to ask you, do you understand? But you want to make sure, do you have any questions about perusal? Does anyone not know how to get in there? Do you, and of course, you would do a how-to video if it were the first time. I always do those. Someone mentioned that just the session before on doing the procedural videos. Okay, so that is step 7. And in step 7, you give the assignment in 3 ways. I think I might have said that in the quick 6-minute video. You give it in your synchronous session with them, showing them the assignment, telling them about the assignment. And then you also put it on your LMS right there under assignments, put it in the LMS. And I also send out an announcement. The very night I teach them, that same night I send an announcement. Mike, Peter, Helaine, Kate, hi. Anyway, then I also send a reminder right before class. I said, remember, be ready for class. I might even tell them what the sign-in is if I'm really feeling good. Okay, so now we're going to step 8, and then I hope that we'll have some questions. So step 8 is your reflection. So what you're going to do, if you didn't guess, is you're going back to the Jamboard again, our same old Jamboard. And now you're going to go past our share out to the next board, and it's a reflection page. So what I ask you to do is to reflect on this session right now, the session we just had. So grab a sticky and put 1 or 2 sentences with your biggest takeaway from this session at this conference. What's your takeaway? And I'm not going to do it with you, but with my students, if they put, I learned a lot, great session, thank you, I erase it. I say, no. I want something specific that sticks with you. I call it the what sticks. You know, I'm against exit tickets. I think that is not cool. I want to know what sticks with that student. And then, of course, again, I make it a reflective activity for the class. Read everyone else's. Put your own, read everyone else's. Anything you notice as you walk out the door. Generally speaking, I tell them once they've reflected, they can leave. But it would be great if they would read what other people put, but I don't make a big task out of it. We're all tired. It's the end of class. So that's it. So I'm done presenting. I would like people to populate the reflection page, please. But then I can tell the moderator, let's see, I probably have 1 more slide. Let's see. Oh, this is the reflection slide here. What is one new thing you might incorporate into your own teaching based on this workshop? Well, that was my colleague. She came up with that question. That's a good question, actually. If you can think of something you want to incorporate, that'd be another good way to reflect. It's a little more focused than I like to be. I like reflections to be wide open, but that's a good one. Anything you're going to take with you to your own teaching? And thank you. You can contact me. I am a real person that can be contacted. And I'm going to give you some of my ways to contact me, which will be my email, my Facebook page on SOFLA, and my website on culturally responsive teaching. And then the moderator will help navigate questions, because that is it.
Okay.
Done.
There were only a couple of questions here. We've
Okay.
got from, I'm sorry, I don't know whether these are initials or a name, Kia. Do you use SOFLA every week in a semester? Asked another way, are all 8 steps covered each week or over several weeks?
All right, great question. First of all, I don't think of it as, for me, I don't think of it anymore as using SOFLA. It's just the way I teach online, and I've been doing it that way for years. Even before I called it SOFLA, I was doing this. And then I said, wait a minute, other people don't do this. Let me figure out what I'm doing. And then I gave it steps and all that. I generally do, this is the way I teach. Not every time, because sometimes I have a guest speaker. I have a student presentation or activity that takes up a lot of time, and there's no way you do the whole 8. I am lucky, unlucky, or lucky. My classes are 2.5 hours. I take a nice big break in the middle, but I teach graduate school and I teach once a week. So for me, this is not a problem. However, most people I talk to say, forget 8 steps. So what a lot of them do is they split it in 2 and they do 1 to 4, and they begin the second time with the share out and they do 5 to 8. So you can split it in 2 if you want to. If you teach elementary, that's a whole different ballgame. And I have one of my students is working on an elementary school version of it, which is going to look a little different. But it depends, it depends on the clock, frankly. It depends on the clock. You can see it was so hard for us to pack in. We packed in very quickly 8 steps. Yeah. But, this is a special situation. But a great question.
Another question.
Did that answer you, Kia? You have a follow-up, or does that answer? Okay, I guess. Okay, what else?
Yes, thank you. How do you make this accessible for students with accommodations or those that have difficulty with technology using Jamboard, etc., even if you teach this repeatedly?
I meet with people individually. We also have tech support on the campus that can be helpful to them. And also there's always the chat. Always the chat. Anything we do, the person can just put it in the chat, or they can do it by audio if they don't feel comfortable with the writing. So however people can respond, there are many ways people can respond. So they don't have to be familiar with a tool. And I don't even use that many tools. I generally, I'm doing that for you guys and show you Miro because I think it's cool and all that. I used to use Adobe Connect and everything was in Adobe Connect, but we moved away from that. But everything can be done in Adobe Connect. You never have to leave that at all. And all they need is one tool. But if you're not using Adobe Connect, you have to use a bunch of tools. So one of the things I do is we meet in Zoom. That's what, people like these days. And then I open a Google folder for every class. Every class has a Google folder and all the activities are inside the Google folder. So that's how I handle that. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. We're a couple minutes past time, so I'm going to let this be the last question here. Do you keep the same breakout groups or mix them up?
Well, that's a teaching decision that is not related to SOFLA. So what you can do is you can have heterogeneous, homogeneous, you can have people that don't know each other, you want them to get to know it. There are millions of ways to decide groupings, and it really depends on what you want to do. Some people decide on a group and they use them all semester. I don't, just because of what I teach, I use different groupings for different types of breakout activities, depending on what I'm looking for out of that breakout activity. But again, it's more of a teacher thing than a SOFLA thing for me.
That sounds great. Well, thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. Unfortunately, I am going to have to cut it off because we've got to let folks get ready for the next session. So there's a whole raft of sessions still available at the 4 o'clock Mountain Time. So 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. And we'll see you at the finale social if you're able to join us. Thanks all.
Bye. Thank you. Nice meeting you all. Feel free to contact me. See you in Perusal.
Thank you.